My name is Molly Clark. I am 12 years old, I'm in 7th grade, I am a basketball player, a Dodger fan, a dog lover, and I'm living with a liver disease. When I was 6 weeks old, I was diagnosed with biliary atresia. Biliary atresia is where your bile ducts are not working, which ultimately causes liver failure. I had a surgery when I was 6 weeks old called the hepatoportoenterostomy, or known as the Kasai. The Kasai was a procedure to help create a bypass to help my bile pass through my system.
My name is Christina Clark.
Hi, I'm James Clark.
And we're parents to Molly Clark, who is a biliary atresia baby. She's not a baby anymore. She's 12 years old. Our journey started back when Molly was just 24 hours old. Our doctor recognized that Molly was suffering from some jaundice, and he started to do the typical testing and found that her bilirubins, conjugated versus unconjugated, you kind of knew more about that, were elevated. And so he started to do more intense testing. And about 48 hours later, at about 10 o'clock at night, he comes into our room. We were still in the hospital at that point, and said that Molly had something more severe going on and they needed to transfer her to another hospital that had a NICU so she could start doing some more intense testing. So we were transferred to another hospital in the NICU. She was there for 10 days and she went through a series of testing. Biliary atresia had come up at one point, but they had said it was so rare that it was probably not likely. So we went through the most common testing, and each day there was a new test that kind of led us down the road. At about 10 days old, they said she seems to be doing okay and stabilizing. Her bilirubin levels were coming down a little bit. So go ahead and take her home, and we'll continue to monitor her and do testing on a regular basis. You actually got to deal with that.
We were lucky because the facility where they took the blood was right across the street from our house. So I literally put her in this big stroller and wheeled her over to across the street every day, and they took her blood and they did the testing that way. That was part of the reason that they let us go home. I was advocating to bring her home as soon as possible because Christina just had a baby, and she was not feeling well, trying to get to the hospital as much as possible. And that trip was really taking a toll on her strength and just not making her feel well. And I know from experience that babies in general just need to be with their moms. So we found out that facility was right across the street, and I said, I'll take her every day if I have to. And they said, okay.
And he did. He took her every day for the bilirubin testing, pricked her on her heel. And after a week of doing that, then they started to do weight testing because she wasn't gaining any weight. And they started to do, I think they did a couple more scans, and she wasn't gaining weight. So they thought they were going to put her on some pancreatic liver enzymes or something along those lines to help her maintain the nutrition. And then we recognized that she was responding to that medication. So then they said, perhaps cystic fibrosis. And that following Monday, we got the phone call that cystic fibrosis was out of the question. She did not have that. Praise God for that. But they were making a bed for her at Children's Hospital so they could do a liver biopsy. So we had to gather our things quickly and get down to Children's Hospital. And the following morning, which was a Tuesday, they did the liver biopsy. The Wednesday morning is when our doctors came in, Children's, and officially had said that she had biliary atresia. Which, while we were sad, we were also a little bit relieved because we finally had an answer. It was 6 weeks later. Molly was 6 weeks old. She was born at 7 pounds, and at that point, she was only 7 pounds, 7 ounces. So she clearly was struggling. She was very tiny. She was super yellow, almost orange. And so there were signs that we were seeing. The following Friday, she had her surgery. She had her Kasai at Children's Hospital, and she went in, and it was the longest 8 hours of our lives, of course.
And we were told 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
8 hours later.
8 hours later.
Crazy. It was crazy 8 hours, what's going on? And But they did a good job.
Yeah. And then her doctor came and met with us and had a big smile on her face saying the surgery was a huge success, that her liver didn't have extensive scarring, which was always good news. They did the Kasai, which naturally is a bypass, essentially, removed the bile ducts, removed her gallbladder, hooked up her small intestine to her liver, and so she was functioning well. Unfortunately, she didn't come out of the breathing part of it great, so they put her in the ICU, and so we couldn't stay the night with her. So we went and saw her, and then I think 2 days later they sent her out of the ICU, and we were in a normal room. And I think 3 days after that, they were sending us home because everything was working the way that it should have been working. And throughout the process, there was a lot of, doctors that came in and gave us all sorts of pieces of information. We know more about the liver now than we ever thought we would, which, we're grateful because it is your biggest organ, internal organ. And then at some point we got hooked up with the Liver Foundation, which was, amazing. I think it was through Children's Hospital. They had formed a team. And so it was neat to connect with others who have this experience because we had no clue what we were doing. We were scared. We're not knowing if this was going to be a lifetime thing for her, if she was going to need a liver transplant, exactly what we were supposed to be doing, what we should expect. And so the Liver Health Foundation has always led us in the right direction with any education, and great doctors and teams of people have surrounded us for sure. Dr. Coley is naturally Molly's current doctor, and he's wonderful and does great testing on her to make sure that she continues to stay healthy and focuses on, the daily activity of what she's got going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so Molly has had 2 hospitalizations since she had her Kasai. The last one, she was only 5 years old, and here she is almost 12 or almost 13. And so she's been super healthy. One of the favorite things that I hear her doctor say is treat her like she's a normal kid, because she is a normal kid. She's functioning like a normal kid. You would never know that anything is going on with her because she's normal. Now, naturally, we love to share Molly's story. And the reason for that is awareness, right? There's so many families out there that don't know what to expect. And it is early diagnosis that is key, for sure. We were super blessed. Molly was diagnosed very early, which is 6 weeks old. So she got into have her Kasai at the prime time, is what I understand. And so here she is, almost 13, living with her native liver. And she's functioning well. And anybody who will ask her something about it, she'll tell her story, and she'll just talk through, I have a liver disease called biliary atresia. She kind of talks through what it is. And she's also clearly likes to get up and tell her story to others as well in front of people at liver walks or galas like this one, because, she's been blessed with a gift to tell her story, frankly. And while we understand that whatever happens with, finding a cure for biliary atresia or whatever the cause of it isn't going to help Molly, but it could help Molly's babies or Molly's babies' babies at some point. And that's our hope, is just to continue to raise awareness of what it is and understand, and to let people know. My hope for her is that she will get to live with her native liver and have her own babies, and they will be healthy. And at some point, maybe she'll become a nurse or a doctor in the liver units, just so she can continue to carry out her story, whatever God's plan is for her through. It's definitely something bigger. And she's not shy. She's not shy about it at all. So the key is definitely raising awareness for all liver disease, frankly, but the one that's in front of us on a daily basis is biliary atresia.